Okay, so welcome everyone to this evening's webinar. The topic is building best-in-class digital communication with Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And I'd like to offer a really warm welcome to everyone joining this evening. I'm Anouski Roberts, Senior Brand Manager here at NewDay, and normally we'd all be gathering in our amazing office space in the middle of King's Cross, but today we're being broadcast from our spare rooms. So here at NewDay, our digital communications team has been on a journey to deploy AI-based next best action to deliver best-in-class customer communication. And this has really all been about implementing the very latest in Salesforce Marketing Cloud technology, specifically Interaction Studio, Mobile Connect, and Datorama. So this evening's event is an interactive panel including members of the team at all levels. We're really excited to share some of our key learnings and challenges in getting the very most from marketing automation. In a moment, I'm going to introduce the team, but first I have a couple of housekeeping points just to share with you all. First of all, this webinar is going to be recorded. It's going to be available to delegates after the event. The event itself is going to run till 7 p.m. We're going to be exploring 4 stages of our marketing automation journey together throughout that. If you do have any questions, and we really welcome those for the panel, please post them in the Q&A section at any time during this evening, and we're going to respond to as many as we can during tonight's event. So without further ado, I'd like to move to introductions. So first of all, myself, so I'm Anouski. I'm a brand strategist here at NewDay, where I've worked for just over 2 years. And during that time, I've rejuvenated our flagship Aqua brand. And I've also co-developed 2 really exciting new brands from scratch. Turning to the next member of the panel. So we have Steph Gayer. So Steph oversees the digital communication function here at NewDay. And he acts very much as the Salesforce product owner. And I've actually got a quick lockdown fact to share about Steph. He's very much looking forward to being able to have a professional haircut when that's possible. And I say, aren't we all, quite frankly.
Thank you.
So moving on to our next panelist, we have Katja Tate. So Katja leads up our lifecycle marketing communications strategy for NewDay for our customers, very much focusing on building high-value customer relationships and bringing our corporate mission and purpose to life, which is about helping people be better with credit. Last but by no means least, we have John Green. So John is our Marketing Cloud extraordinaire. He manages our Salesforce Marketing Cloud platform, driving platform innovation and best-in-class marketing automation solutions. So here we are, we're delighted to be here. I'm just going to pass the mic over to Steph, who's going to give a little bit of an introduction to NewDay.
Hi, thank you. Good evening, everybody, wherever you are. That's the beauty of being online. I just wanted to give you a bit of an introduction of what is NewDay and what we do in a nutshell. So NewDay, we are a credit card lending company, but we're much more than that. I like to describe that we are a company that powers credit through so many new channels at the moment. It's digital, it's the standard credit card you'll see from carded product that we call internally. We're really focusing in 2021 on how can we explore new technology, new platform, embracing the new digital era, especially with Salesforce Marketing Cloud technology, and how can we power our customer communications, operation communications, collections, and any servicing messages. As Anouski mentioned, we are based in King's Cross, which is beautiful office. Just a shame we couldn't be there. A really exciting time. I really enjoyed it. It's nothing like credit. I just that's the first things that my team says when they join, and they start to see what we do. It is such a diverse activity that we do across so many projects, and you'll see that John and Kat will talk you through how exciting we can work from brand to to push notification. I think it's a very exciting time. Back to you.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Steph. So let's make a start on the discussion. So just as a quick reminder to everyone, please do share your questions for the panel in the Q&A section, and we'll pick them up as we go along. So as I mentioned at the start, we have 4 broad themes that we want to use to explore this journey together. And the first is very much about what it takes to create a successful landscape to really develop best-in-class approaches to digital communication. And I guess data, of course, is central to all of this. So I'd like to kick things off gently by perhaps going, John, to you first. And my question is, what does best-in-class digital communication look like to you?
Sure, thanks, Anouski, and yeah, thanks for the nice warm intro as well. For me, the best in class is about really using the full range of tools and assets that you have available to you. We're very lucky at NewDay to have some of the latest platforms available to us. We use Marketing Cloud. We've got the full suite, for example, allowing us to reach customers on pretty much every channel available. We've got Datorama implemented at the back end of last year, which is really giving us some rich marketing analytics and some powerful visualizations. And then also got some interaction studio coming later this year, which will enable us to do some real-time web personalization, which is really exciting. So yes, in answer to your question, for me, it's the best in class about using what you have to enable you to deliver the right message at the right time to your customers, almost sort of before they even need it. And I think that's, yeah, for me, what best in class is and what we try to do here at NewDay.
Wonderful. So it's that sense of anticipating the customer need, I guess, and the opportunity. Kat, could I perhaps direct my question to you? What do you see best in class representing?
I mean, I think, unfortunately, John, you covered that really nicely, but just to kind of, add and build on your points. I think that, at the end of the day, best in class digital comms needs to start with data. That's one of the great benefits of this channel. And we're really lucky at NewDay. I've worked across, a range of industries. And frankly, for anyone working on existing customer, credit cards is really the jackpot when it comes down to customer data. Seeing customers' transactions, how they're spending, how they're interacting with our products, it's incredibly rich, and it gives you so much insight into how customers are really living their lives day to day. So, best in class in this context really comes down to being able to harness that data effectively and using that, to John's point, to drive really personalized, communications at the right moments, which we know is, foundational to any kind of good CRM strategy. So we have, just amazing insights base to be able to, use and access that data here at NewDay. And I think in addition to that, to kind of build on the point around digital tools, any best in class digital program needs to be really playing into that feedback loop of insights that you get through digital comms. One of the great advantages is that you can understand how your customers are interacting with your campaign, with your marketing strategies, almost in real time. And off the back of that, you can really quickly respond to customer engagements. People aren't responding to your email, send them, a social campaign. People aren't opening your push notification, think about how you maybe add more value through email. The MarTech stack that we have at NewDay enables us to track that really instantly and make in-campaign changes, which essentially allows us to improve our results from our programs of work, almost on a daily basis, or whenever we kind of, as much as we want to give it focus. And ultimately, as John mentioned, we'll be moving to increasing automation of those kinds of optimizations for our campaigns.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Kat. I do actually have a sort of a question I can see in the chat, which I'll share. Really keen, Steph, to get your thoughts on this one. This one comes from Stuart Gascoigne. And the question is, do we use a single instance of Marketing Cloud for all of our clients, or does each client, in fact, have their own instance? Would you be able to, or perhaps you or John, would one of you be able to give us a view on that?
Yeah, I'll start the answer and I'll pass on to you, John, because you're in the everyday into it. So we use one single instance to manage all our clients in different portfolio. Obviously the build of the instance is quite complex in how they're all set up with different business units and parent units. So we really leverage Marketing Clouds. You can scale Salesforce Marketing Cloud as much as you can. The sky's the limit, but obviously there is a lot of things that we need to take into consideration, especially in financial industry such as we are, is how does the data is shared in the back end behind all those layers, but we are using only one. I don't know, John, if you want to add something else on this one.
Yeah, no, I think you've answered the question. It is one instance that we use across both of our portfolios. We just use those natural business unit partitions to actually separate between our own brand portfolio and our co-brand portfolio. But we are sort of contemplating the idea in future, which is quite exciting, to have almost not just child, but grandchild structure as well in Marketing Cloud, which will be quite interesting to play around with.
If I could just add a thought about it, is we are actually currently building a brand new instance at the moment. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, NewDay is going through a really exciting phase in 2021 of building new product. And one of those new products is actually, without going into the details, and I don't know how much I could say, hopefully none of our solicitors on the call, but basically it's a brand new offering, which is really exciting, and that actually calls for a brand new instance. So we do have vacancies, by the way. So if you fancy getting your hand down and building a brand org from the ground up, you know where.
Wonderful. Yeah, lots of opportunity. I absolutely agree. Actually, drawing up on a point that Kata, you shared for the previous question, keen to kind of explore a little bit about this question: how important is customer data in what we do? And Steph, I wonder if you could perhaps give us a response on that.
Yeah, I'll give Kata a bit more airtime on this one because she uses it on day to day. But from me, from a strategic point of view, data is key. It is your backbone or what we do. Without the data, you cannot action, decide, or even plan, forecast anything with it. It's really leading with data and leading with technology. The importance in data, there is two aspects: is have access to data and have access to what we call clean data, is actually data that makes sense. And keeping in mind as well, on top of that, is we are creating ourselves as well a lot of data. So it's very important. It needs to be very well classified, and it needs to make sense. Don't be afraid of it. And I know Kat has a view on that one.
Wonderful. Kat, perhaps we can bring you into the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as the importance of data in terms of what we do at NewDay from a CRO, I mean, it's completely critical. As Steph has said as well, within that, the importance of clean data. You know, I have worked, you know, in other capacities before where, you know, the data that I've been working with hasn't been great. And as a CRM, you know, marketer, that hugely limits what you can do, you know, how you can add value to the customer relationship, you know. So for us, the wealth of data that we have at NewDay, the integrity of that data and how we can access that through Salesforce Marketing Cloud is pretty much my number one enabler here at NewDay in terms of driving, you know, lifecycle communications for customers. So, you know, as I mentioned earlier, we have, you know, a hugely rich insights base in terms of our data, and we use that directly to really shape lifecycle marketing strategies. So, you know, that enables us to understand, you know, how our customers are managing, you know, their products. You know, it enables us to do, you know, things like serving them, you know, relevant offers. You know, it's nothing worse than receiving an offer on travel in, you know, in a COVID environment or, you know, something like that, which is not really of interest to you. It's annoying. It irritates everyone. So it enables us to kind of add value in a lot more, you know, pointed way, but it also enables us to support customers really actively through their credit building journey. Which is one of the core focus areas, you know, for own brands and for NewDay generally, is helping people be better with credit. You know, from my perspective, I really need to kind of live that. I need to, you know, it's within my team managing the existing customer experience that really becomes meaningful. So the data that we have, you know, on our customers in terms of how they're interacting with our products enables us to identify, you know, really quickly where we might be able to add value in that credit building journey, and how we can, you know, offer our different tools and services, our different kind of credit management, credit building tools at the right way, in a way that's really relevant. It's going to help people achieve their goals. So it's number one pretty much.
I think I'm hearing that very clearly. And I guess timeliness as well is so central to it. So that's the power that we're unleashing as well. John, can I just check, are there any builds that you want to share from a platform perspective, perhaps?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Sure. Are there any builds that you'd like to share from a platform perspective on data, or any instances of how critical it is, I guess?
Yeah, so probably need another webinar just to talk about data from my perspective. Haven't always seen eye to eye with some of the data that we have structured within our Marketing Cloud instance. But building on top of Katya and Steph, we're really driving that home now. That you can kind of hear from what they're saying, data is key for us, as it should be as well. But for me, it's the key, especially with Marketing Cloud. So anyone who's got experience out there, it's about that customer, that contact key, making sure that's unified across the different studios. We ourselves had to go through a sort of process to try and unify that a bit better. But once you've got that, it really does mean that you can offer that omni-channel experience for your customers, which is really where you get the power out of Marketing Cloud and its associated products as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, John. I'm actually now going to move on to the second theme that we've constructed in this evening's panel, which is, thank you, on cue, is all about how we engage throughout the customer journey, and in particular, how we can use this AI optimization capability. So to kick things off on this one, I'd love to go to John first. My question for you, John, is can you give us an example or a couple of examples of how important automation is to customer journey here at NewDay?
Yeah, one example comes to mind. As I said, it kind of goes back to the data issue that we were just talking about, but we were doing a rather manual process of trying to encourage some sort of upgrades on some of our products. Running it as a manual process, I think for a good sort of 2 years on a monthly basis, which really kind of just detracted from all of our time in terms of taking a step back and really looking at the big picture and what we could do additional. And so I think in relation to your question, for me, that's really what the importance of being able to automate is. It's being able to keep up that constant communication with your customers in the way that they expect, so that you can then jump into something more unique and something more tailored that then cuts you apart from the rest, but also then just gives your customers that experience, that good thought in their mind of you as a brand as well.
Absolutely. So really adding value, of course, by relevance and saliency. Wonderful. Steph, could I perhaps go to you and sort of ask you from your perspective as your accountability is obviously running this function, where do you see automation being relevant for customer journeys?
Yeah, I think from my point of view, where I stand and where I see it, to make customers in general in at NewDay and financial industry or anywhere else interact with so many platforms nowadays. So many things have been done through the app. Emails, we're leaving such a huge digital footprint out there. So not being able to automate part of this is madness. You would need so many people to maintain that. So to me, automation is critical to automate those communications, interaction that customers will take. So for example, would be we know when customers are first joining onto a product, we were going to use Salesforce Marketing Cloud to build journeys to start sending them through action we want them to take. So it could be either registration to our servicings online, or it could be taking an action with a card, or completing information, or opting in for something, for a signing up for e-statement, anything like that you've got the confidence that is running in the background and you can monitor. What that allows you to do is to scale very quickly, to scale up. While you don't focus on those automation that can run, you can now focus on more genuine interaction, how can you provide more content and really spend more time on actually understanding the core message, what is the message, I should say. So to me, it's all about scale across all the brands, and it's all about scale as well with our customers, keeping in mind that more customers you got on the back of your platform, the more you have to service as well. So it's automation for me, it's scales and autonomy that kind of free your mind to focus on the exciting things we can do.
Wonderful. Thanks, Steph. I'm really hearing, that point around, from a marketer's perspective, it's freeing us up to perhaps focus on more high value activity. Katia, I know this is relevant for you and the team that you lead. Can you perhaps give us your view on the importance of automation?
Yeah, and I mean, to kind of, I guess, paraphrase Steph, it enables us to do more stuff better. Is how I would kind of encapsulate this.
There's still plenty of stuff to be done, I agree.
Absolutely.
The cool stuff. Yeah.
The cool stuff, exactly. And I mean, as someone kind of leading a team, we all want to be doing best in class, great, marketing work, and enable, being able to automate communications that they're always there, consistently driving value for our customers and helping to drive towards KPIs, means that my team have a lot more capacity to kind of focus on identifying areas of opportunity with the business, thinking about how we can add more value through the customer life cycle. So we get to kind of, do cooler things, basically with the capacity that allows, which is great because NewDay is an amazingly high growth company. And it's a company that is very focused on product innovation and continuously kind of iterating what we can offer for our customers. So we're launching new customer propositions all the time. For example, just recently we've launched a new kind of credit building tool in the app called Apple Coach, which is this amazing tool that enables you to see your credit score, understand your key factors, helps you understand how you can kind of manage your account. We've been able to automate a lot of our kind of BAU. We know that it's still adding value, we know it's still working through the data visualization tools that we have access to, and we're also able to really kind of focus on how we can build up really cool, really interactive omni-channel campaigns for things like Apple Coach. So it enables us to do that, to find time to do the cool stuff.
Wonderful. Thanks, Kat. I can see that there are a couple of questions coming through on the subject of vacancies in the team. I know we've got a bit of time to reflect on that in detail, so we'll cover that off a little bit later in the discussion. But just returning to this aspect of automation, I mean, a reflection for me, and Salesforce is not my day-to-day, but obviously, we have a culture where we talk about this a lot. I'm always struck by how revolutionary the potential seems to be when we really activate this properly. So I guess my question for the panel really is, where do you see it having potential to be a real game changer in your day-to-day work? And do you have any examples to share with the delegates this evening? Perhaps if I could go to maybe Steph first on that one.
Sure. I think the game is changing. It's already changing, and why I'm saying that is because it's happening. It's happening today, right now. So we really need to grasp that when it's happening. Customers and users are they already used to those tools. But for us, NewDay, what I see from a strategic point of view is anticipating what customers are going to behave with our product, and that's very, very important. So it's no longer what email I'm going to send that next. It's about what is the next best action. What is most likely. And one really very example that we working on, and happy if anyone join us in the team can get their hand on to as well, is building the interconnection. Where it is a game changer for us is, imagine a customer that is going on our website and then trying to find something, find information about a product, and they don't necessarily get there. We can right there, right now, identify how long they're being on the website, what they're searching, the keywords, the wording, and straight away kind of direct them with the right information, send them an email, send them an SMS, send them to the call center. And almost, we're not quite there, but this is what we aim to ask an agent from our call center, friendly agent, to actually call them back. That could be the game changing here is really be able to look after, service our customers better than they think, and their problem arise. That's how game changing it is to me.
Absolutely. John, I might turn to you. I can remember vaguely a conversation in the past when we were in the office together. You were talking a little bit about AI and Einstein. Can you perhaps share a little bit of information about that with the audience?
Well, yeah, I think for those of you, again, who have got Marketing Cloud and use it, the Einstein products that Marketing Cloud allows or enables are incredibly useful. Some of them are a little bit more complicated to set up, but some of the ones that are real quick, that low-hanging fruit that you can instantly get involved and start using in your campaigns. We're talking sort of send time optimization. There's a huge tendency, at least that I've found, for all of the campaigns and comms to be sent out at between 10 and 12 Monday to Friday, because that's the done thing. By simply enabling send time optimization in NewDay and Marketing Cloud, we're already seeing some real increases in terms of the open rates, engagement rates, and actually churning out some more interesting, insightful information around that. Actually Sundays seem to be some of the days that some of our comms are actually engaged with more often. So I think really just using some of those features that, like I said, are low-hanging fruit. They're almost point-and-click configuration is a real game changer. It helps give us insight without us having to really trawl through those millions of touch points that we've alluded to earlier. So I think definitely, if anyone hasn't at least explored some of those features within Marketing Cloud, now is definitely time to do it. And I think you'll be quite excited about what it spits out in return.
Fantastic. And Katja, from your perspective in terms of running a communications team, any reflections on sort of game changing, I guess?
I mean, I think that, when I consider in the past having enormous spreadsheets of data where we try to create meaning out of, good Lord, off the back of all this data, when is the best time to send a campaign to somebody, or who might be the people that are like underserved from a comms perspective, where we can think about how we improve our relationship with them. Anyone who's ever tried to do that in like a spreadsheet and huge amounts of time trying to crunch that data will be both infuriated and incredibly relieved by accessing some of the tools that John has mentioned. It makes identification of opportunities and optimization that easy, and it enables you to improve and react to the campaigns that you currently have live. But like I said, it also enables you to identify opportunities for new strategies. So for us, making sure that we have the right communications with our customers, making sure that we're reaching them in the right way, the right frequency is really important. So we can see who we're over communicating with, where we might need to consider paring back. We can see who we're under communicating with, and who we might want to think about targeting with some additional messages. So it's a game changer in so many ways. And I think you said this, Steph. I think it's already happening in terms of how it's impacted us as a business. And then whenever I speak to you, you're always dropping kind of tantalizing clues about various different things that's coming later in the year. So I think more in store for sure in terms of how we can continue to go up onwards and upwards with that.
Wonderful. Thanks, Kat. I do actually have a question from the delegates. So Christo, in fact, there are two questions. I'll take the first one. So a question for us about whether our marketing activities are targeted only to end customers or if we're doing B2B. So I suppose kind of a reflection on that is, so Katja runs a marketing function that's very much focused on the end customer. We don't necessarily have much focus on B2B from a direct communications perspective. There is another question, and John, I might go to you with this one, if that's all right. Are we using Pardo or any other tool? Are you aware?
No, we're not. So yeah, Pardo is Salesforce's B2B platform. And focuses more on the lead nurturing side of it. That's not something that really we touch on in terms of marketing activities. So no, we're not using Pilot, unfortunately, just Marketing Cloud. And some of the other products we've mentioned as well, like Datorama and Interaction Studio as well.
Okay, great. Thanks for clarifying. That's great. So just to continue this discussion about automation, a question, Kat, for you, if I may. Where do you see our customer journey changing in terms of how we build on our communication strategy?
I mean, I think fundamentally, I think, really unfortunately, when it comes to, customer comms, your strategies tend to be, not necessarily, they shouldn't be driven by your capability, but there's no point designing a strategy that can never be executed on. So, having access to all the tools that we have with Salesforce Marketing Cloud has been huge in terms of how we've been able to evolve our marketing approach. I think, historically, or in a lot of businesses, who don't have access to these kinds of tools, you're often working on like a marketing calendar where you've got sort of campaigns plotted out, against the month, and you kind of send X campaign here and X campaign here. And that's really manual. It's a lot of, resource investment across all the teams. And it's also not the best way to drive relevance, because those calendars usually reflect business priorities at the time, per month or per quarter. And, you're sort of pushing messages to customers based on what the business wants to achieve at that moment in time, which is, ultimately it's not customer centric, and it's not building those relationships with customers, in the right way. So, being able to automate, and design journeys means that we can really kind of flip that on its head, and instead of pushing what we want at the customer when we want that to be pushed, we can actually start from the customer, and really kind of, look at that end-to-end customer journey, and then build in touch points at key moments in time based off key triggers, key data points, and use that to sort of serve relevant propositions throughout the customer lifecycle, rather than having that more tactical approach. So that has been, huge and significant for NewDay's customer strategy. It has meant that we can move to more of a life approach, more of a moments marketing approach, where we are connecting it at key moments. We still supplement that with, with contextual campaigns that enable us to respond more quickly to changes in the market, or seasonal considerations, things like that. But that life cycle marketing approach has been completely enabled by the capabilities through Marketing Cloud.
Wonderful. And John, do you have any platform reflections on that question of how we build our comms strategy?
I think probably a more appropriate answer for me would be to touch on almost what Katia said earlier around sort of hinting at new tools and what we could be looking at further down the line in 2021. I think one of the latest tools from Salesforce that we're looking at implementing here at NewDay is the Interaction Studio, which I think will, again, going back to the previous point, be a real game changer for us. It will really allow us to tie together not just our Marketing Cloud efforts and our campaigns there, but also some of those offline channels, what we're doing in the contact center, etc. And we'll be able to start painting a real picture of, at each stage of that customer life cycle, what is it that they're most intrigued in, what is it they're most asking for, and hoping in the long run that we'll then be able to turn that back into some of our campaigns to, like we touched upon at the start, really get to our customers the right message, the information they need before, I guess, they even realize they need it, which I think would be my ideal goal for 2021.
Wonderful. Steph, just to turn to you quickly, are there any kind of reflections you want to maybe share? Sorry, I'm having a bit of noise in the background here before we turn on to our third theme.
Yeah, no, I think just to close up the topic here, it's all about flipping on its head. It's all about what technology you have available, what's there available for us, and how can we build customer strategy with it. It's really supporting those strategies. It's blue sky thinking, think it, and then the technology is there. It's just how do we leverage it and use it even better, really.
Wonderful. And just to say, Steph, I think we have someone who wants to join the team as well. So
I'll
see you later.
Hello.
Oh,
Don't you love these interruptions?
No, I don't.
Totally unscheduled.
There is job openings, Anouski, by the way. He's happy to.
Wonderful. Good. He works very hard.
Good.
A question from Stuart, if I may, just on tools. Are we using Tableau?
Yeah, I guess I can pick that one up. Yes, we do have Tableau here at NewDay. We're using it very much for sort of non-marketing related dashboards and visualizations. We're using Datorama more for the marketing side of it, but we do have an initiative coming soon this year again to actually integrate the two with the new connection that they've got, so we can actually give that full 360 reporting to the likes of Katia, who I'm sure is waiting desperately for that sort of information.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, John. Now, there's an interesting question. It's a bit of a prickly one, but I'm going to fire it because I think it's an interesting one. So Chris has asked, he'd love to hear, sorry, he or she, apologies, I'm not quite sure which, would love to hear what we currently don't do so well. So, and what do we do really well? So I wonder if there are any reflections that the team would like to share in terms of, are there areas of our optimization strategy where we'd like to push further, perhaps?
I'll start and I'll pass it on to you guys, because I don't think it's something we don't currently do that well. It's something that we need to be better at. I think this is how I see it. To me, if you look from a digital communication point of view, it kind of goes back to data. So one we're not great at the moment, but we're working really hard on, it's having one data source for every touch point. So that's something that we don't do really well, and it's challenging at times because it's more complex, it creates more time, and you don't want to spend time querying different databases and SQL queries and everything else. So I think, to me, that would be that we really need to improve on as NewDay, as a department. One thing that we do really well, it sounds a bit cliche, but we are very, very adaptable. We react very quickly to whatever the industry, the economy, what's happening out there happen. We have a very, very short turnaround time with product campaign. You will be amazed if you're part of the NewDay family to see how quickly we can push live a product or a campaign with very also with checking all the lights of risk and compliance. With that, I'm not talking about taking shortcuts. It's just really pulling together and just the spirits of it, and it's something that amazed me. So I would say that.
Wonderful. Thanks, Steph. And John or Katia, do you have any builds, perhaps? Is there anything you'd like to see us really pushing on further?
Yeah, sure. I guess from my perspective, I guess it's not so much that we don't do it well. It's just, as sort of someone who's constantly in the platform, I'd love to see, again, us really sort of continuing the advancements we're making with the data. We do have a good setup at the moment, but I think there's plenty of points and areas and data sources that we could really be leveraging to, like I said, take our relationship with our customers to the next level. So I guess that's number one from my side.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Just conscious of time, so I'm going to move to the next theme, if I may. So that's to say, oops, sorry, I'm just going to get rid of one of these questions. So that's to say that we want to now look at, I mean, the Tableau question was a good intro to it, really. So the question of how we leverage new functionality and data visualization tools to really drive performance. So my first question, Steph, is for you. Could you tell...
No, I was thinking about it.
I think it's coming straight to you. So how do we use data visualizations to really support decision-making here at NewDay?
I'm giggling because we're right in the middle of it in a lot of front, but I think John go in detail on that. I just want to bring it back probably a bit of notch. It's what is data visualization first, because I don't know who's on the call. They actually what do we do? I don't want to go too techie or savvy, but I've got a very interesting way. Is Excel make pretty, basically? That's what it is for us. But probably John will hate me to say that because he spent a lot of time and hours to configure everything. That's it. But to me, it's really helpful. I just got an example that happened today, actually, where we had a questions about a journey that we have for one of our customers that wasn't really performing well, and it was all about, oh yeah, I know the answer. Here's the link to our online dashboard, and it's so interactive. So they could make the decision and see exactly, analyze quickly what it meant, and it suddenly makes sense to them. So really, in short, that for me, it's almost a game changer for us.
Wonderful. Going back to the flavors of the previous theme, I guess. John, can I bring you in?
Sure.
So how do we use
yes.
data visualization?
So I love Marketing Cloud, but I do not like the reports that it offers, which I think is really why I was so keen to get involved in the Datorama project. Although Steph calls it Excel on and basically
Make pretty. Excel make pretty.
Yeah, I have to disagree with that comment. I think it's so much more. We've used it recently to sort of monitor some of the campaigns that we've got in terms of new product launches. We can set alerts and actions off the back of how our campaigns are performing to notify those who need to make changes. So it's so much more than just being able to see how your campaign is tracking in a nice Excel graph. It's the ability to then actually take that information and actually use it further to almost kind of bring back this kind of closed loop learning. We should always be reflecting back on what we have done and trying to improve it. And I think that's kind of what the data visualization, and especially the Datorama implementation we did, means to me. It's given us that insight that we can now use to really drive performance and optimize what we have today.
Wonderful. So Katja, obviously in your role in terms of really driving, campaign performance, sort of from a customer communications perspective, could you perhaps give us any reflections on this subject of data visualization?
Yeah. I mean, firstly, I love the fact that Steph, you just reduced this major data visualization project to Excel made pretty.
It took
kind
us
of
so
one
long.
fell swoop.
Don't quote me. Oh, Anouski said I was recorded. Damn.
I'm afraid so. On record.
I mean, I would agree more with your stance, John, insofar as it has been, a major game changer for us. And on the marketing side, it's been really huge because there's nothing worse than, delivering a series of campaigns designed to test out, carefully curated hypotheses. And then at the end of the campaign period, you eventually get your results and you say, oh God, that worked a lot better. It would have been, great if we'd done more of that, kind of 6 weeks later. So I think, there's just so much missed opportunity in the lag between, reporting analysis, being able to understand how campaigns are tracking. It's just massive missed opportunity there. It's much better that you can track things real time, understand how things are performing, and we really quickly, make changes and optimizations. We've been able to, double the engagement we've seen from customers, on campaigns, kind of, after a few days of data, and, to kind of test out trends and hypotheses that have ultimately made huge impacts on the performance of core activity. So, it's massive for marketing and marketing strategy, and us being able to ensure that our campaigns are really effective, and that we can respond to them, frankly, if they're not, and if they are, we can look at how we can push it further.
Wonderful. Thanks, Kat. I'm going to sort of take the conversation a bit further into the fourth theme that we've structured for today, and that's on the subject of personal development and how we can really take opportunities to upskill ourselves with the very latest in Salesforce tools. So I guess this is where we get slightly upfront and personal. I'm going to ask John, if I may. John, how do you stay relevant with the latest in technology?
So, yeah, I think it's a really key point, especially as, platforms like Salesforce are continuously coming out with new releases, new features, and new capabilities. For me personally, being sort of heavily specialized in the Salesforce ecosystem, I rely quite heavily on sort of the infrastructure and the offerings that they have. They offer accelerators to help you ramp up your skills within the platforms. They've got Trail Mix, which is a great sort of step-by-step activities you can run through on your own time to keep up to date and actually practice them. There's, I guess, some sort of Salesforce meetups as well, actually organized by people outside of Salesforce and just within the community itself. They're great in terms of actually talking to people who have got the products but not using it necessarily in the way that it was sold or packaged. They've taken their own twist on it and they've implemented a new style. They've given it something, a slight nuance that, you know, could actually be more relevant for you, to you and your needs. So I think, you know, it's a combination of just using really what's out there and using some of the offerings and the groups and the meetups that are available. Really helps you sort of keep on top of the latest Salesforce tech, which, like I said, does change at an incredible rate.
Wonderful. So Katja, I guess, you know, again, in your role leading a sort of high-performing comms team, how important is it for them to be Salesforce aware?
I mean, I think we're incredibly lucky at NewDay to have people like John and Steph, you know, within the business. You know, obviously, you know, we have a very special business model that means that we have an enormous amount of subject matter expertise that is internalized. Obviously, not all businesses are like that. You know, more often than not, you'll be working with, you know, external partners or agencies to help you, you know, fulfill core campaign activity. We have internalized a huge amount of those functions at NewDay. So what that means is that, you know, my team are sitting alongside people like John and really getting, you know, unique day-to-day interaction with the platform and some of the tools. And we work in really closely with our digital communications team. And when we launched Datorama, which was, you know, major, obviously milestone for us in our you know, analytics journey. You know, my team have access to that and have worked with the team to kind of create their own dashboards to extract their insights. So it's a massive opportunity for us at NewDay. I think it's one that we're very uniquely privileged to have these teams, you know, in-house, and it gives my team a lot of really hands-on practical experience with the platforms and different innovations that are delivered through it.
Wonderful. Steph, I'm going to turn to you, if I may, maybe to talk a little bit about learning sort of more contextually at NewDay. Could you share any sort of observations?
Yeah, I think I'm joining Kat on that, and that we are incredibly lucky with NewDay to supporting so much that we got in terms of internal training or external partners or anything like that. Even we're starting the new year, and I haven't been in a role where we got a training program in plan for 2021 for my team and for everybody, where we say, okay, what do you want to learn this year? Where do you want to get to at the end of the year? So incredibly lucky of that. So for example, I've got a goal is to have all my team Salesforce Marketing Cloud certified by the end of the year. So that's a goal that we want to achieve, because and we will be supporting it. So that's very, very good. So that's really accessing that. And then also self-learning that we have got on the side. It's just I find myself doing them all over and over and again. As John mentioned, there's probably a new release every quarter or every 2 months where something, you got to stay on top of this one. And I'm just incredibly impressed on how much we've got available to us there.
Wonderful. Thanks, Steph. We do actually have some interesting questions that have come through on the Q&A thread. Well, first of all, I'd love to, Steph, a lot of interest in the roles that we have. Do we have any permanent roles only, or do we hire contractors, is one of the questions.
Yeah, so we do have currently 4 openings, 4 roles open. So there is from senior roles to more junior roles, all working on Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So that's one. We do have contractors. We do rely a lot on contractors because it suits more people as well sometimes. So we're very flexible again with how we approach work on that. But yeah, both is available.
Wonderful. Another question, which is from an anonymous attendee. So for businesses that are in the process of really starting a transformation of their data and tech stack, particularly in regards to Salesforce Marketing Cloud and the way customer data is structured or made accessible, what would you say are some of the key considerations or watch outs for those at that stage in their journey? And John, I wonder, could you maybe share some thoughts on that one?
Yeah, sure. Curious to know sort of what else you've got in play, because that obviously has a big factor in it. But some of the key considerations, especially if you're considering Marketing Cloud, is number one, the contact key. That is your, the silver bullet, so to speak, of the platform itself. It will really tie all of the different studios and builders together. I think if you don't have that in place first, then you're already fighting an uphill struggle. I think also think about the data, itself and what actually you need to fulfill your marketing and comms needs. Not everything needs to be passed to Marketing Cloud, and by no means should it. I think you really need to look into what it is that you actually want to use Marketing Cloud for and how you want to use it. I think once you've got that, especially with Marketing Cloud's contact builder, for example, really look at the sort of entities and objects that you're keen to use. Contacts and all their contact details, accounts and all the account detail. We use cards and some basic card information, etc. So you've really got to think about how you structure your data before you start the task of actually moving it over to Marketing Cloud. Hopefully that answers the question.
Great, thank you, John. Steph, anything to add from that perspective? I think John's covered it pretty well. But
no, I think I think that's spot on.
Perfect, thank you. So another question from Stuart, this one. So what alternatives do Salesforce Marketing Cloud did we consider when we were selecting the tool? I mean, I don't know if there's any narrative around that. Is there another alternative that we'd want to go for? Any thoughts on that one?
There is alternative out there, I think, without a doubt. Why we selected Marketing Cloud, it was really at the beginning to do an email marketing, really basic functionality. It wasn't more than that. But then we realized there is much more into it. And when we really started to look at, that was the only option that we see fit into the scale and the growth and how flexible products and optimization come later on. There is all the product out there. We decided to go with this just for the simplicity of it, and the user-centric is just, I mean, if you haven't used it, it just works. but we went through a different process, but yeah, we ended there.
Wonderful. I'd love to take an opportunity, if I may, actually, just to ask the panel a little bit about how they got to where they are today, because I think that could be quite interesting for the delegates. I mean, Steph, could you maybe kind of share any reflections on your career journey so far?
Sure. So I've always been in marketing. So that, I think that's the core. That's what powers me, marketing. When I started, not want to show my age, but digital wasn't something you associated with marketing. It was just marketing. I kind of really pick an interest when data started to get more valuable from customers. So I really grew into a basic standard marketing coordinator role, and then I grew into digital marketing, and I evolved in there. Then I jumped into more industry that were more exciting in terms of data, so utilities, fast food back in Australia as well. And then really I stuck on with digital communication, CRM, just because of the tool at the time. I started to work with ExactTarget. So I kind of grew in my career in the path with the technology as well. So the more the technology got more complex, I got more skilled and more qualified and more a better understanding. So really that's how got me there. Really, it's just and follow your passion. Really, if you feel like, oh, that job, I really want to do this, jump for it, go for it, and then it will work. Yeah.
Take those opportunities. I can't agree more. And I'm going to you, John. Could you tell us a little bit about your journey to getting to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. I started actually my first job working with Salesforce. I started at Blue Wolf, an IBM company, acting basically as a marketing automation consultant. So going into companies who have recently bought either Marketing Cloud or Pardot back in the day, and helping them really get the most out of it. I think my time there really then sort of just continued to develop my skills and focus mostly on Marketing Cloud. And eventually that sort of wound me up to Steph. And I think essentially I just tried to position myself as a technical expertise of the platform itself. And I think that's, Steph can perhaps answer why, but that's potentially why I think I got this role here. Just position myself as an expert in the platform that I like and that I enjoy working in.
Wonderful, thank you. And Kat, do you have any tips for those of us watching in terms of how you got to your role?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked across sort of all aspects of marketing. So, you know, from proposition development to, you know, go-to-market, growth, acquisition, and CRM. And I think, you know, the two kind of key things that have hung those roles together and have allowed me to move from across, you know, a range of different marketing disciplines has been, you know, a real interest and curiosity about, you know, capability, you know, digital capability. And that is so transferable across all marketing disciplines. And within that, it's around being really curious. So not just, you know, using, you know, the platforms, the ad tech, the MarTech that you have available, but really understanding how it works, because invariably there is so much value that kind of sits in people like John's brains. And if you can kind of access that, and if you can be curious about that, you know, that will really enable you to drive a lot more value from your marketing strategies in a much more proactive way. And then the other is kind of being very data focused, very data driven. And that doesn't mean being an analyst. You know, that just means, you know, aggressively going after insights and really unpicking, you know, the data that you have available to you to understand more about your customers, how they're interacting with you. And using that to form, you know, really strong hypotheses that you can then test into, learn, you know, iterate. And I think, you know, those two things in terms of, you know, interest in tech and capability and passion for data will really allow any marketer to transfer across any discipline, because they're foundational to all aspects of marketing and are only going to become more relevant as we continue to innovate in the digital space.
Wonderful, thanks, Kat. We do actually have a final question in the Q&A thread, which I will pick up, which is really a reflection from Stuart. So is lack of dev org a problem at all in how we operate, would you say?
Yes, that's probably best if I pick that one up. So I think it used to be. I don't think it's as much a problem as it is at the moment. I'd very much like it if Salesforce Marketing Cloud had dev orgs available. But I think with the ability to use business units and some of the Marketing Cloud extensions that are now available, you can actually almost create a dev org for yourself. Obviously, like I said, it is a bit, you know, it's not standard functionality, but like I said, it's less of an issue now than it used to be. There's some great tools out there which kind of act almost like a release management tool. So you can share from one business unit to the next, and then yet you can keep your data, your test data and your production data completely separate, using some of the business unit filters, which is quite good. So yeah, not so much as it used to be, but still very much waiting for the day that Marketing Cloud released that dev org.
Wonderful, thanks, John. We have literally a minute or two left. Steph, would you like to mention the vacancies that you've got in your team at the moment?
Yes, I will. I was thinking about that. We got, so it's a growing team. It's really important to understand that they brought a new role just due to the demand and the work that we're doing. So we got junior roles in terms of working with John on the platform side. Basically, is helping him just bringing all those new tools to reality, really building back on this. And we got more senior roles as well, where it is actually managing a brand new org build, which we mentioned a little bit earlier on the webinar, which is quite exciting as well. So plenty of opportunity and also roles really to create and make on your own. So even if Salesforce is not necessarily your thing straight away and you want to get stuck in, I would say don't hesitate, because you're going to have to start somewhere, and And we're really looking at more at the person, the attitude, and then the determination, and the rest really comes together really easily.
Wonderful. So very much open to recruiting for mindset and training for skill, which I think is wonderful to hear. Thank you, Steph. There is actually one question about contract roles. Our website doesn't mention any. For those who are interested in those, what would your advice be?
Get in touch on LinkedIn. And that's what I would say. The contract role are not necessarily advertised on the website. It's just an internal setup. That's how it works. But we're always on the lookout for contractors via third party that we use as suppliers or permanent contractors. We've got different types. So I think the best way is get in touch with any of us and then inquire, and then we can direct you to the right people, to the right suppliers as well, but always constantly on the lookout.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Steph. And as the clock has just turned 7, I'm going to bring this evening's webinar to a close. My thanks go to Steph, to John, and to Katya for joining us and giving us such a rich and stimulating conversation, and also to everyone who's joined to watch this evening's event. So as a reminder, a recording will be made available to you afterwards. So with all of that in mind, I'd just like to say, wish you all a very warm evening, and take good care. Look after yourselves in the lockdown.
Bye.
Thanks, Anouski.
Yes.